Welcome and thank you for taking an interest in the part we play in Scotland's mental health and wellbeing that seeks to look at how your local club can contribute to this. My name is Jenny and I'm one of the service managers for a local mental health service in Aberdeenshire called MyLife Dynamic. MyLife Dynamic is a part of SAMH, the Scottish Association for Mental Health. SAMH is Scotland's largest mental health charity, and we are passionate about helping people strengthen their resilience and take control of their recovery. We recognise that mental health is a journey with ups and downs, and it is not a straight line. It will look different for everyone. For many people, physical activity and sport plays a vital role in this. In this presentation, we aim to start a discussion about this and what you can do to contribute to this on an individual and community level. Take a minute to think about mental health. What words first come to mind? If you like, pause the video for a minute and write down or think about what your initial thoughts are. You might have thought about depression, anxiety, maybe stress. But what about things like resilience, confidence, self-esteem? As Scotland's largest mental health charity, we recognise that we all have mental health. However, people will often equate this with mental ill health instead. So how do we go about changing that narrative? Half of all mental health problems in adulthood begin before the age of 14 and 3/4 before 25. What does this make you think about? Is it surprising to you? For many people, this isn't always visible. We all have to play a role to support our family, our friends, our community. At SAMH, we believe in mental health and well-being for all. Sport and physical activity has a huge role to play in achieving this. Research suggests the less physical activity a person does, the more likely they are to experience low mood, depression, tension, and worry. We know that being active is hugely beneficial for our mental health. 36% of individuals in Scotland don't meet physical activity recommendations. Does this mean that 36% of people in Scotland aren't interested in engaging in physical activity? Absolutely not. In fact, they might be experiencing barriers that are making it difficult for them to participate, despite having a genuine interest in getting involved. Judgment and stigma still remain as key barriers to engaging in physical activity. By working together, we can change this and ensure that having a mental health problem is never a barrier to engage, participate, and achieve in sport. Now, take a minute to think about what you see as the benefits to physical activity. You might think about your own experience, or perhaps things that you've learned from your neighbour, or maybe a medical professional. Did some of these benefits appear on your list? We tend to focus on the physical health benefits when we talk about physical activity. But what about the impact that it has on your mental health and your well-being? Take another minute and think about or write down what you think are the mental health benefits of getting involved in physical activity and sport. When you look at these factors, these benefits, are you surprised by any of them? We know that there are 5 ways to better well-being. These include connect. You are forming social communities, particularly if you're part of a team. Be active. Now, that's quite an obvious one. Take notice. Physical activity can be a form of mindfulness. Learn. You can learn new skills and you can cultivate a talent. And finally, give. You are potentially giving to your community. You could also be giving your time and your knowledge to help other people. We are seeing more and more people recognizing the beneficial impact of sport and physical activity on their mental health. The 5 ways to better well-being can all feed into this. Think about the role that you have within your club. Pause this video and take a few minutes to think about or write down ways that you are making a difference around mental health and well-being. That might have felt quite difficult. You might not have realised that the things you are already doing are making a difference around mental health and well-being. We want to encourage you to start a conversation around this within your own club or community. We all play a part in making a difference, and the first step is to talk about it. In this video, Chris and Craig discuss the importance of local clubs and their role in promoting physical and mental health benefits. It emphasises the positive message of being open about mental health and how to start that conversation. The social element of sport is also recognised. Chris and Craig also touch upon the existing stigma in sports and some of the more positive ways in which this is addressed in elite sports in particular. If you're interested in watching the full video, feel free to type the link on the screen onto your browser. What are the potential barriers for people with mental health problems around engaging, participating and achieving in physical activity in sports? Pause the video again for a few minutes and think about what barriers might exist for people that can stop them from fully engaging in physical activity and sport, perhaps within your local club or on a more general level. You might want to think about what Chris spoke about in the previous video or something else entirely. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers to this one. These are the main barriers people with lived experience of mental health problems have told PACE affect their ability to engage with sport and physical activity. These include confidence and esteem, anxiety or fear, motivation, others, for example, groups, meeting new people, judgment and stigma, and finally, the cost. When you look at this list, can you relate to some of these? Cost is a trend that started appearing more prominently within the survey in 2019. We are currently living through a global pandemic, and as such, money can be an even more prevalent barrier to many of us. Sometimes it's not about having the money to fund the activity itself. It can be in relation to things like transport costs or childcare. Pause the video and think about how, in your role, you can support people to overcome these barriers. It might be helpful to choose 1 or 2 barriers to focus on. Take 5 minutes or longer, whatever feels right to you. Did that feel easy? challenging. Breaking down barriers can take time, but we believe partnership is key and we can start the conversation from this moment. So, where do we start? More opportunities. Let's feed into what already exists within our local communities and where we can work together to either create these opportunities from scratch or enhance the existing links. What about engaging people with disabilities? What about the work that we could be doing with local schools? Awareness of mental health and well-being. This is something we are addressing through our SAMH Charter for Physical Activity and Sport. I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about this in a moment. Role models in sport, just like Chris we spoke about earlier, play a really important role. It is just as valuable hearing directly from a known athlete as it is from any one of us as ordinary people who have experienced mental health problems and used physical activity to stay well. How can we promote this? How can we help people to be heard? Encouragement is something you probably already find yourself doing within your club. What you might not realise, however, is the hugely positive impact this can have on someone who might be struggling right now. Taking a moment to listen and opening a conversation can go a long way. Education. Every club will have their own distinct culture. Think about the culture that has been created within your own club. How is your club culture helping to break down the barriers we've discussed? And what are the potential changes you could make? Lastly, involvement. We would encourage you to share as much as possible the activities you're doing within your local community to raise awareness of what resources are out there. Right now, more than ever, how is your club adapting to things like COVID-19 and the additional challenges this presents? This could be viewed as an opportunity to focus on the club development and to expand on the potential of community involvement. When looking to support people who may be having a hard time with their mental health, people can often feel worried about what's expected of them and what they can do to help. One of the most common worries people have is, what if I say the wrong thing? What we want to do is help demystify the idea that mental health is complicated. It can be as simple as talking and listening, opening a conversation, just like we are doing today by holding this presentation. Asking something like, "Are you okay?" can be a good starting point. It's okay if you don't have the solution. Don't feel like you need to fix someone's problems. It's enough to listen to them and encourage them to seek support. There are a variety of resources available, and it may be helpful to identify which ones are local to you. Don't forget that sometimes you might need some extra support too, particularly if you've had a difficult conversation with someone. What opportunities does your club have to check in with each other? How easy is it for someone new to come into an established group? And how open is your club to change and new ideas? For over 10 years, SAMH has actively engaged and championed the positive impact that physical activity and sport can have on mental health and well-being. We have worked in partnership with key organisations to develop leading projects and programmes aimed at demonstrating the power that regular physical activity can have on mental health. In 2016, we continued to focus on physical activity and sport announcing the development of Scotland's Mental Health Charter for physical activity in sport. You may remember me mentioning that earlier on. The purpose of the Charter is to improve equality and reduce discrimination for anyone with a mental health problem, ensuring that there are no barriers to engaging, participating and achieving in sport and physical activity. To achieve this and continue on this journey, we need your support. We have had hundreds of clubs become signatories and do their bit to promote good mental health and well-being for all. Can your club be next? For a club to be able to sign up, you need to demonstrate the following: actively promoting inclusive practices within your club, developing inclusive policies and practices within your committees, actively encouraging participation of both existing and new members, participating in the Charter network, and finally, routinely reviewing performance across these measures. Now, how do we go about tackling these challenges? Create an action plan. This will take time to formulate and put into practice. What are some of your thoughts on how to do this? Take a moment to think, or write these down by pausing the video. Remember, collaboration is key. What were some of the focus points you came up with? Here are free tools that you can get access to by signing up for this charter and submitting your action plan. There may be further tools that are individual to your club that you want to explore, but this can be a great starting point. Now the ball's in your court. By going to our website, you can find an interactive map that highlights all the clubs across Scotland that have joined the Mental Health Charter. This can help people with mental health problems find clubs who are committed to breaking down those barriers and challenging stigma. Are you ready to join us? Thank you for coming along and for your participation in this session. We hope that it has provided helpful information and allowed you to reflect on your and your community's own mental health and well-being. We have included the contact details for Robert Nesbitt, SAMH's Head of Physical Activity and Sport here. If you have any questions about the Charter and how you can get involved, please do not hesitate to drop him an email. If you are looking for something more local, please visit our website at mylifedynamic.org.uk or follow us on Facebook to keep on top of our regular mental health workshops that are open to anyone.